My name is Vera Westbrook. I'm 28 years old. 7 days before my wedding, I found out my own mother had canceled every single vendor. The flowers, the food, the venue, and told my fiancé that I was damaged goods and that marrying me was the biggest mistake of his life. On our wedding day, 200 guests showed up to an empty lot. But my maid of honor had seen this coming 6 months ago. What she planned, and what my mother walked into, changed everything. Before we begin, if you enjoy this story, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly feel it. And tell me in the comments, what time is it where you are right now? Now let me take you back 8 months ago, to the night Nathan got down on one knee in our kitchen, and the phone call from my mother that came 11 minutes later. Nathan proposes on a Tuesday evening. No fancy restaurant. No ring hidden in dessert. He just stands in our tiny kitchen in Ridge Hill, Georgia, holding a ring he saved 7 months for, and says, "I don't have a speech. I just know I want every morning to start with you." I say yes before he even finishes the sentence. We sit on the kitchen floor afterward, my back against the cabinets, his arm around my shoulder. I keep turning my hand under the light, watching the small diamond catch it. For 11 minutes, the world is exactly right. Then my phone rings. "Mom." I pick up, still smiling. "Mom." "But Nathan, just where are you having it?" No congratulations. No gasp. No, "Oh, honey." "The wedding," she says. "Where's the venue? I need to know now." I glance at Nathan. He tilts his head, listening. "We haven't decided anything yet, Mom." He literally just, "Well, you need to start deciding. These things book out a year in advance. I'll handle the calls." I should explain something. My whole life, every decision I ever made passed through my mother first. Which college? Which major? Which apartment? When my father died, I was 19. She pulled me close at the funeral and whispered, "It's just us now. You're all I have." From that day on, saying no to her felt like walking away from a widow. So when I tell her we want to plan the wedding ourselves, she goes quiet. 4 seconds. I count them. "Fine," she says. "I understand. You don't need me anymore." My chest tightens. The old guilt, the kind she planted inside me when I was a child, turns on instantly. "No, Mom. Of course I need you. I want you to help." I hear her breathe out, satisfied. Nathan watches me from across the kitchen. He doesn't say anything, but his jaw shifts just slightly, the way it does when he's holding something back. I didn't know it then, but that phone call was the first move in a game my mother had been waiting to play. 3 months after the engagement, my mother has taken over everything. It happened slowly, the way water rises in a basement. By the time you notice, it's already at your ankles. First, she offers to make a few calls to vendors because I'm busy teaching 3rd grade. Then she starts showing up to food tastings without telling me. Then she changes my contact information on the florist's account to her own number. I wanted wildflowers, sunflowers, lavender, baby's breath, loose and messy and alive. My mother orders white roses. "For elegance," she says. "You'll thank me." I wanted barbecue. Pulled pork, cornbread. Can't serve barbecue at a wedding, Vera. People will talk. I wanted the seating chart to put Nathan's family up front. She rearranges it so her friends fill the first 4 rows. When I gently push back, the only way I know how, she cries right there in our living room, dabbing her eyes with a tissue she already had in her hand. "I'm just trying to make this beautiful for you. Your father would have wanted it this way." And I give in every time. Nathan starts spending longer hours in his workshop. He doesn't complain, but sometimes I catch him standing at his workbench, not building anything, just staring at the wall. One evening, Rachel, my maid of honor, my best friend since 8th grade, comes over for the first rehearsal dinner planning. She watches my mother rearrange the centerpiece samples I had chosen, replacing every one of them. Rachel doesn't say anything to my mother, but later at the door, she grabs my arm. "I need you to trust me on something. Don't ask questions yet." I laugh nervously. "What do you mean?" She just squeezes my hand and leaves. I didn't understand. Not then. 2 months before the wedding, my mother invites Nathan to lunch. Just the two of them. She says it's to talk about family things. I think it's a good sign. But Nathan comes home that afternoon and sits down across from me at the kitchen table. He folds his hands. He's careful with his words. He always is. But I can see the tension in his shoulders. Your mother told me you had a breakdown in college. My stomach drops. She used the phrase, damaged goods. I stare at him. The room feels like it's tilting. She said, my daughter needs someone who can handle her. Can you really? I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. Because yes, after my father died, I went through a really dark stretch my sophomore year. I saw a counselor. I worked through it. It wasn't a secret, but it wasn't something to use against me either. My mother turned it into a weapon. What did you say? I whisper. Nathan looks at me steadily. I said I don't see damage. I see someone who survived you. Something cracks open in my chest. Not pain, something warmer. She left after that, he says. Didn't finish her iced tea. 20 minutes later, my phone rings. Mom. Nathan disrespected me at lunch. Mom, he's cutting you off from your family, Vera. That's what men like him do. Carpenters, blue collar, no ambition. He builds furniture with his hands, Mom. Your father was an accountant. Dad is gone. Silence. Then, very quietly, don't you dare throw that at me. She hangs up. I sit in the kitchen holding my phone, caught between two versions of the truth. My mother's version, where she's protecting me, and the real one, where she's trying to make sure I never leave. I didn't know it yet, but this was only the first step in her plan. The rumors start small. 6 weeks before the wedding, I walk into Patty's hair salon on Main Street for my regular trim. Patty, who has done my hair since I was 14, sits me down and leans close to the mirror. Honey, are you okay? Your mama stopped by yesterday and said things aren't going well at home. I blink. What did she say exactly? Patty hesitates. Just that you've been struggling. That Nathan might not be the right fit. I smile, the kind you paste on when your insides are falling apart, and say, everything's fine, Patty. Really? But it's not fine. Because the next day I walk into Dale's Market for groceries, and Mrs. Brewer at the register gives me a look I've never gotten before. Pity. Pure, unfiltered pity. Vera. Sweetheart, if you ever need to talk, I don't ask what she heard. I already know. Ridge Hill has a population of 4,000. In a town this size, a rumor doesn't travel, it teleports. Within 48 hours, my mother had visited every coffee counter and church parking lot with the same story. Vera is fragile. Nathan is a mistake. The wedding shouldn't happen. I start feeling it everywhere. The sideways looks at the post office. The overly gentle tone from parents at school pickup. People treating me like I was made of wet paper. That Thursday evening, my phone buzzes. A text from Rachel. Don't react to anything your mom does this week. I mean it. Trust me. I stare at the screen. What does Rachel know that I don't? I type back. You're scaring me. 3 dots appear, then disappear, then appear again. Good. Scared means you're paying attention. She doesn't explain further. And for reasons I can't quite put into words, I don't push. Something is moving under the surface. I just can't see it yet. 5 weeks out, my mother calls Gloria Cole. I don't find out from Gloria. I find out from Nathan, who finds out from his mother, who calls him at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, her voice tight and careful. Nathan, is there something about Vera I should know? Nathan puts the phone on speaker, so I can hear. Gloria continues. Diane called me last night. She said Vera has a history of, she used the word, episodes. She said Vera needed mental health treatment in college, and that she worries about her stability. My hands go cold. She told me you should know what you're getting into. And Nathan, I'm just repeating what she said. She called Vera emotionally out of control. I watch Nathan's face. His expression doesn't change, but a muscle near his temple tightens. Mom, he says. Vera saw a counselor after her dad died. That's it. Diane is twisting it. Gloria pauses. I believe you, honey. But she was very convincing. She cried. Of course she cried. After Nathan hangs up, he turns to me. For the first time, I see something in his eyes that isn't patience. It's clarity. Your mother is not trying to protect you, Vera. She's trying to own you. I know he's right. I've known for years, maybe. But hearing it out loud in our kitchen on a Saturday morning, with sunlight on the floor, it sounds different. It sounds true. Don't fight with your mom over this, I tell him. That's exactly what she wants. He nods, but his jaw is set. That night, lying in bed, I realize something. My mother isn't just trying to stop a wedding. She's trying to break apart every relationship I have, one phone call at a time. And she's running out of people to call. Here's what nobody tells you about weddings. The money disappears before the first dance even starts. Nathan and I had saved for 3 years. $18,000 pulled from teacher paychecks and early furniture orders. We skipped vacations. We bought a used car instead of a new one. Every dollar had a job. Florist, $2,200. Caterer, $4,800. Venue deposit, $3,500. DJ, photographer, rentals, cake. The rest filled in fast. Most of those vendors had a 30-day cancellation policy. We were now inside that window. If the wedding didn't happen, we'd lose almost everything. One evening I sit at the kitchen table with our budget open on my laptop. Nathan is across from me, sanding a chair leg by hand because the power sander bothers our neighbor's dog. If we had to walk away right now, I say, how much do we lose? He doesn't look up. Most of it. We can't afford to lose most of it. I know. $18,000. 3 years of packing lunch instead of buying it. 3 years of Nathan working weekends. That money was supposed to be our start, a down payment, a safety net, a future. And right now it was sitting in contracts controlled by a woman who saw my happiness as a threat to hers. I close the laptop. I press my palms against my eyes. If I don't do something, I say, more to myself than to Nathan, I lose the money. I lose face in front of 200 people. I lose your mother's trust. I lower my hands, and I lose myself. Nathan puts down the sandpaper. You won't lose me. I know. Then we figure it out. I nod. But sitting there in the quiet of our kitchen, I think this is the bottom. This is as bad as it gets. I was wrong. 7 days before the wedding. A Monday. I'm grading papers at my desk during lunch when I decide to call the florist. Just a quick check-in. The phone rings twice. Magnolia Florals, this is Dawn. Hi, Dawn. It's Vera Westbrook. Just checking in on our order for Saturday. A pause. Too long. Ma'am, that order was canceled 3 days ago. The pencil in my hand stops moving. Excuse me. Your mother called. She said the wedding was off. I hang up. My fingers are shaking, but I dial the caterer. Miss Westbrook, yes, we received the cancellation Thursday. Your mother said. I hang up again. I call the venue. I'm sorry, Miss Westbrook. Mrs. Diane Westbrook called and canceled the reservation. She said the family had decided. I don't let her finish. I sit at my desk, staring at my phone, and I feel the ground beneath me disappear. Not crack. Disappear, like sand washed away by a wave. I call my mother. She picks up on the first ring, like she was waiting. Mom, you canceled my wedding. I canceled a mistake. That was not your decision. Everything about you is my decision, Vera. I grip the edge of my desk. I raised you, she says, her voice flat and calm. I fed you. I buried your father alone. This wedding, it's mine to give or take. Something shifts inside me. Not anger, not yet. Something colder. Something that had been sleeping for 28 years and just opened its eyes. No, I say. It isn't. I hang up. My hands are still shaking. But my voice was steady. And that surprises me more than anything my mother just said. The room is very quiet. 22 third graders are at recess, and I'm sitting alone with the wreckage. I don't remember driving home. I remember the kitchen floor, the cold tile through my dress, the way the afternoon light made a rectangle on the wall that moved so slowly it felt like time had gotten thick. I'm not crying. That's the strange part. I'm just sitting there, my back against the dishwasher, my bag still on my shoulder, staring at nothing. Nathan finds me like that when he comes in from the workshop. Sawdust on his forearms. He looks at me, doesn't ask what happened yet, and just sits down next to me on the floor. Close enough that our shoulders touch. 10 minutes pass. Maybe 15. The refrigerator hums. She canceled everything. I say finally. Every vendor. All of them. He doesn't flinch. When? 3 days ago. Behind my back. His hand finds mine. His palm is rough and warm. She told me this morning it was hers to give or take. I say. The wedding. Our wedding. She said it belongs to her. Nathan is quiet for a moment. Then. We'll figure this out. 7 days, Nathan. No florist, no caterer, no venue, no money for replacements. I know. My mother wants me to fail. The sentence sits in the room like a living thing. The first time I had ever said it out loud. Nathan pulls out his phone. I'm calling Rachel. He dials. Rachel picks up. Nathan gives her the short version. Vendors canceled. Diane responsible. 7 days. Rachel listens. I can hear the silence on her end. Not the silence of shock. The silence of someone already thinking. Don't call any vendor, Rachel says. Don't call your mother. I need 48 hours. That same night, after I've fallen into something that isn't quite sleep on the couch, Nathan's phone rings. He's in the kitchen. I hear him answer. I hear his voice drop low. I don't move. Later, much later, he tells me what happened. My mother called him at 10:47 p.m. She had a breakdown in college. Did she tell you the full story? Nathan says nothing. She couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks. She missed finals. I had to fly up and bring her home. Still nothing. She can't handle stress, Nathan. She'll fall apart. You'll be the one picking up the pieces. He lets her talk. Walk away now, she says. Save yourself. You seem like a decent man. Don't let her ruin your life. Nathan reaches across the counter and taps a button on his phone. Record. Georgia is a one-party consent state. He knows this because his friend Marcus told him once, after a contractor tried to cheat him on a job. Is that everything, Diane? He says calmly. I'm trying to help you. Noted. He hangs up. He saves the file. He doesn't tell me that night. He can see I'm barely holding together, and one more hit might crack the foundation. The next morning, he drives to Rachel's apartment before work. He hands her his phone with the recording ready to play. Rachel listens. Her face doesn't change. When it ends, she looks at Nathan and says, "This is exactly what I needed." Nathan asks, "What are you planning, Rachel?" She taps the phone against her palm. Insurance. The kind your mother-in-law can't cancel. She doesn't say more. And Nathan, because he's Nathan, trusts her the same way I do. Completely. Rachel told me to wait 48 hours. Those were the longest 48 hours of my life. But I didn't know yet that she had been preparing for this moment for 6 months. 5 days before the wedding. Rachel shows up at our door carrying a thick folder, thick enough to prop open a window. She sits at our kitchen table, the same table where Nathan proposed, where I learned about the cancellations, where every turning point of this year has happened, and she opens the folder. I need to tell you something, she says. And I need you to let me finish before you react. I nod. The day your mom volunteered to handle the wedding, 6 months ago, I started making backup plans. I stare at her. 6 months. Do you remember your college graduation? I do. My mother arrived 40 minutes late, started an argument with my roommate's parents over parking, and spent the whole time telling everyone that my education degree was a waste and I should have gone into business. I cried in the bathroom. Rachel held my hair back. I made a promise to myself that day, Rachel says. She would never let my mother ruin another big moment for me. She pulls out a printed contract. Elmwood Garden Estate, a private garden property 12 minutes from downtown Ridge Hill, owned by a woman named June Whitfield, a friend of Rachel's from event planning. The contract is signed with Rachel's name, dated 6 months ago. A $2,000 deposit. Rachel's own money. You spent your own money? My voice cracks. You'd do the same for me. I look at the date on the contract. 6 months. She started this the same week my mother took over the vendor calls. Rachel saw it coming before I did. Before anyone did. Nathan leans against the counter, arms crossed. He's staring at Rachel like she just walked through a wall. I didn't do this because I hate your mother, Rachel says. I did this because I love you. I don't have words. I just have tears. And for the first time in months, they're not the sad kind. Rachel flips through the folder like a general running a war room. Florist, Sandy's blooms out of Carterville. Wildflowers, sunflowers, lavender. She looks at me. Exactly what you originally wanted. I press my hand over my mouth. Caterer, Big Jim's Smokehouse. Pulled pork, cornbread, brisket, sweet tea, and mason jars. Nathan lets out a short laugh. The first one I'd heard from him in weeks. DJ is my friend Marcus. Photographer, my co-worker Lena. She shoots weddings on the side. Total backup cost, $6,500. I've covered it. You pay me back whenever. I shake my head. Rachel, that's not negotiable. She moves on. Guest list, I pulled the original list you shared with me when you first got engaged, before your mother took over. All 200 names, phone numbers, emails. I have a separate contact list for every single one. She explains the plan. The morning of the wedding, she'll send a group text and make personal calls to the 15 most important guests. Nathan's family, my Uncle Tom, closest friends. The message, venue has been upgraded, new address, arrive by 3 p.m. She'll frame it as a surprise. And my mother? I ask. Rachel meets my eyes. She gets the original address. Only the original address. The room goes quiet. I also called someone else, Rachel says, her voice careful now. Maggie Coulter, WRDG-TV, a local news human interest piece. Best friend saves wedding, a community love story. Maggie doesn't know the details about your mom. She just knows it's a feel-good segment. I hesitate. A camera crew feels like a step I can't take back. Rachel reads my face. You don't have to decide now. But Vera, your mother put this on Facebook. She made it public first. This is just the truth catching up. Part of me feels guilty. The other part, the part my mother had been silencing for 28 years, feels something I haven't felt in a long time. Relief. I don't sleep that night. I lie in bed, Nathan breathing slow and steady beside me. And I run through the film of my life from the beginning. Every birthday my mother made about herself. The year she announced her hip surgery at my sweet 16. Every achievement she made smaller. Teaching is nice, but it's not a career. Every boyfriend she pushed away before Nathan, calling each one not good enough, until I believed I was the problem. And my father. The last thing he ever said to me, 3 days before the heart attack, standing at the kitchen sink in the house I grew up in. Don't let anyone shrink you, Vera. Not even me. I didn't understand then. I think I do now. At 6 a.m. I call Rachel. Let's do it. You're sure? I'm sure. Good. I'll get everything going today. I hang up and make one more call. Uncle Tom, my father's younger brother, a retired army man who manages a warehouse in the next town over. He's been in my life since I was born, but he keeps his distance from my mother. Smart man. Uncle Tom, I need to ask you something. Shoot. Will you walk me down the aisle? The line goes quiet. I hear him clear his throat. When he speaks, his voice is rough. Your daddy would be so proud, Vera. I press the phone to my chest after we hang up. I sit on the edge of the bed and breathe. Here is what I do not do. I do not call my mother. I do not explain. I do not beg. I do not try to make a deal. For the first time in 28 years, I choose silence. Not the silence of giving in. The silence of someone who has finally decided. 4 days until the wedding. And my mother still thinks she's won. I've thought about it a lot since then. Why my mother did what she did. Was it hate? Was it fear? Was it something broken inside her that couldn't stand to see me whole? I still don't have a perfect answer. But I'm curious. If you found out your own mother had canceled your entire wedding, what would you do? Would you confront her? Would you go quiet like I did? Would you do something else entirely? Tell me in the comments. I'd really like to know. And now, back to 4 days before the wedding. 4 days before the wedding. A Thursday. I'm standing in the hallway outside my classroom at Ridge Hill Elementary, filling up my water bottle at the fountain, when I hear her voice. Not on the phone this time, in person. In my building. I'm here to check on my daughter. I look up. My mother is standing at the end of the hallway, speaking to the front desk volunteer, loud enough for every open classroom door to hear. She's been unstable. I'm worried she'll have another episode. Mrs. Patterson, the 5th grade teacher, steps into her doorway. Mr. Gaines, the custodian, freezes mid-sweep. 2 parents waiting for a pickup conference turn to stare. My face goes white. I can feel it drain. I walk toward her. Steady steps. My sneakers squeak on the linoleum. Mom, this is my workplace. Please leave. She turns to face me and her expression shifts. Hurt, wounded, trembling chin. Someone steps forward and says, gently but firmly, "Ma'am, I'll need to ask you to step outside." My mother looks around the hallway at the staring faces and the half-open doors and squares her shoulders. "You'll see," she says, walking toward the exit. "Everyone will see." The door closes behind her. The hallway slowly relaxes. Mr. Gaines goes.